Welcome to the cockpit. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your pilot today on this dreary day. What week are we in? We're on Texans week. That's what week we're on. We're going to do a little Q&A for about an hour leading up to the game. Want to hear your guys' thoughts, opinions on everything going on. We heard some weird rumors throughout the course of the week, all revolving around our starting quarterback for this week. Is he going to stay the starter the entire time through these last 5 weeks? Is he going to get benched for someone else again? Is this the final 5 games we're going to see is Zach Wilson in a New York Jet uniform? I want to hear from all you guys in the chat. I see Dakota's popping in here. Always in nice and early. My holy king says, why can't we just get one touchdown or more than one touchdown? Donald's asking, how can I watch the game? Gotta be watching the game. Gotta find. It should be on CBS, I would think, unless they're blacking it out. They're like, "Yo, we're not selling out this game." But it should be good. Fungus Among Us says, "Click the like button." Thank you. Connor Long says, "Will there be call-ins for pregame?" Yeah, we could do a few call-ins. I want to get through a few topics, go through a few comments in the comment section, but then we can fire through a few calls as well. Before we get into it, we got a new sponsor of the channel. Very excited about this one. This is SKG Tax. December is here. That means tax season is set to kick off, and it's time to draft an all-pro CPA to create your tax savings playbook. The IRS has instant replay, and when they throw the challenge flag, they charge penalties, fines, and interest that'll put you behind the sticks. Don't let the IRS sack your bank account. Hire JR the Tax Czar and drive yourself to your or your business down the field for tax savings touchdown. This is coming from a very, very loyal Jets Talk subscriber. So this is a Jet-owned, well, not Jet-owned, but JR is a good Jet fan. So if you got to figure out some tax stuff, head over to JR. Good people over there. Thank you so much for supporting the stream. If you guys want to help support the stream, obviously, supporting our sponsors is a big way to do that. But let's hop into some of your questions and comments, things of that nature. If you guys want to look in the live chat, I did pin a comment to the top there. I'm going to be hosting a brand new show. It's a game show on Roundtable Sports. It's pinned in the live chat there. Click on that link. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to take a watch. See what it is. It launches this Monday night at 7:30. So the Monday call-in show is not going to happen at 8 o'clock anymore. It's going to happen at 9 o'clock. So this show over on Roundtable Sports, 7:30 to 8:30, and then 9 o'clock to either 10 or 11 o'clock. We'll see how I feel depending on how many calls we're getting for the Monday call-in show. So it should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. Let's drop a little bit of the promo trailer so you guys can see exactly what's going on over there. Welcome to 3 and Out, the interactive NFL game show where viewers like you get to decide which of your favorite content creators get benched and which ones move on in the ultimate competition. So you may have noticed the name of the show is 3 and Out. And if you're wondering if it was named after the Jets offense, like I see Mr. NYY dropping in the chat, the answer is yes. I was so enthusiastic about this season and everything we got going on. I was like, boom, 3 and Out, got to name it after our damn offense. Basic idea of it, 3 rounds of eliminations, going to be a lot of fun. Got some cool content creators coming on with us. But yeah, I get to host that. Gonna be crazy. It's gonna be a whole viewer interactive kind of show, so you guys can save someone from elimination if you want. There's no like over representation from the damn Dolphins fans that always screw with us. Really frustrating. Always frustrating with those Dolphins fans over there. But all right. Let's talk a little bit here. Got my little Talking Jets ticker going across the board. Actually, I guess that reminds me. Before we hop into it, I want to show you guys my picks for today for Underdog, another sponsor of the channel. If you guys would like to join me in trying to make some money this week, I got a $20 entry that'll get you $400 if it hits. All you got to do is go to Underdog Fantasy, linked in the description down below. Promo code JETS247. It's 100% deposit match up to $100. I have Jalen Hurts. So they got like a nice little teaser. So Jalen Hurts for at least 0.5 yards. So that's an easy, higher there. Although what's funny is I took Aaron Rodgers over half a yard in the home opener and it didn't hit because obvious reasons, and that's sad. But I got Amendola, kicker, getting 6 points for the Texans. Zach, over 11.5 rushing yards. Garrett Wilson, over 4.5 receptions. Zerline, over 4.5 kicking points. I think this is about as much of a lock as you could really get at this point in the season based on what we've seen from this team. So if you guys want to try and win some money, it's a nice little 400 spot that I think you guys will have fun with over there. All right. A fungus among us becomes the newest member of the Jets Talk 24/7 family. Jets. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, too. Much appreciated. Scuba Steve says, rainy day at MetLife, par for the course. Yeah, I think it's like 5 or 6 games that we've had this year that are all rainy games. And even week 1, where it didn't rain during the game, it poured at the tailgate, which made the field wet. Jetpack says 6 points incoming. Woo! Fire! What's up, Kaz? Good to have you in here, brother. Always appreciated. Yeti Wilson says, good morning, brother. Let's go, Zachy Poo. Yeah, I'll be rooting for him. I'm curious to see what you guys think. Do you think he'll wind up being the, on the roster for next year? Or do you think we trade him? And if we do trade him, what do you think we actually get him for? Connor says, I bought the ejected hoodie and sauce t-shirt. Thank you, Connor. I saw that come through the shop. That really means a lot. It's cool when the merch actually sells because it's something that like I've either designed or whatever. So when it actually goes, I appreciate it. Thank you for all the support. Private says, this my reason to take a quarterback with our pick. We don't plan on picking in the top 10 again in the up and coming years. Rodgers plays with us. So while we are here now, let's take our quarterback of the future. I think that is a completely valid point. And that's where a lot of fans kind of fall on a lot of this quarterback conundrum. I would just be surprised if Douglas makes that pick. Like, I understand the fan base wanting that to be the selection, but if you're in a position like Joe Douglas, where you're on the hot seat and your career is on the line, are you going to take your most valuable asset and say, we're not going to look at it for this year? Or are you going to draft someone that could help you with your current roster and current situation right now? It's a weird double-edged sword because if you bank on the future and you hit on what you've already done, then you're looking even prettier. If you miss on it, your job is, done. You're out. And no more shots at this thing in New York. And then all of a sudden, you don't get to see this guy play. That's my thinking with this. As much as the logical side of me says, hey, quarterback could make a ton of sense here, especially if you're moving on from Zach Wilson. You want to have this kid sit behind Aaron Rodgers. I would lean more towards a high upside guy in the mid rounds, maybe like Jordan Travis, someone like that from FSU. I think that would be the way I'd go, and let him sit behind Rodgers there as opposed to using your premium asset since you're not going to be able to see him this year ideally anyway. But I understand where people are coming from. Jaden Daniels last night winning the Heisman Trophy. Does he wind up cracking into the top 10 now? I think it is very possible. Danny George says, just want to see some good offense today. Brees anytime is free. So I did not take Brees anytime touchdown because it usually burns me. I'm going the more pessimistic route on my stuff. Donald says, hey, Ryan, are you streaming the game today? I'm not, but I think Green Bean probably is. So if you want to watch over on Green Bean Jet Fan, usually him and Jeremy are streaming the game. I'm going to sit downstairs and just kind of relax. I am going to do the every throw video. So if you guys are interested in the Zach Wilson every throw, that will be up later on. Kaz said, I can't wait to boot Richie. He had a real bad guest on the live show. I don't know who he had on, but you can boot anyone. Not anyone. You get to save people from elimination in that game show, which is going to be fun. So make sure you subscribe over on Roundtable Sports. It's a lot of fun. They've entrusted me with the first inaugural show on Roundtable Sports, and that's what I came up with. So if you guys like it, would love to have you over there. It's kind of like an around the horn style, pardon the interruption / I guess viewer type show. It'll be good. Cactus says, if we can somehow get a seventh for Zach just to clear his $11 million salary from the books, that would be enormous win. So you're not going to clear his salary by trading him. Let me pull up over the cap real quick so I don't misquote it, but I'm pretty sure that Zach Wilson's contract, if traded pre-June 1st, we lose. Oh no, hold on, that's the wrong year. We would save $5.4 million. So he's on the books, guaranteed $11 million if he's on the roster. He's guaranteed $11 million if we cut him. But if someone takes on his salary, we save $5.4 million. So I guess the question is Zach Wilson worth it for some late pick for some team at $5.4 million? Now, as far as quarterbacks go and where that $5.5 million salary would rank, that is higher than Tyrod Taylor, Jarrett Stidham, Andy Dalton, Mariota, Justin Fields, Sam Darnold, Drew Lock, Mike White, Jameis Winston, Baker Mayfield, Mac Jones, Kenny Pickett, Gardner Minshew. So it'd be a very expensive backup quarterback for a guy that has left a little bit to be desired. But you could argue the upside is so high that the nice thing is, like, if the Jets decide to move on and trade Zach Wilson, it's to our benefit to look as incompetent as possible because other teams might say, hey, that guy, that team over there, doesn't know how to develop quarterbacks. Look at Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, and Sanchez, and Hackenberg, and now Zach Wilson. They don't know what they're doing. Let's throw them a late-round pick for a number 2 overall talent that was incredibly athletic, has a cannon for an arm. We think we can fix him. That's going to be how the Jets have to play this particular type of game. Try to get as much as you can. Rube joining the membership. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. If you guys would like to join the channel, you get some cool emojis. Drop some JETS in the chat for our newest member, Rube, who admittedly leads me to believe this is probably a Texans fan. That's okay. It's okay. You're allowed here too. I do want to know your opinion on everything. Obviously, Zach Wilson taken 2nd overall, CJ Stroud taken 2nd overall, and you can see by these damn statistics over here, career stats, Zach Wilson leading in games played and yards purely because of games played, but basically trailing at everything else. 26 touchdowns in 3 years is not ideal. Not ideal. Cisco guy said he's not here next year. Wonder who would take him off our hands. It's going to be interesting. I still think there's a shot that he winds up being quarterback 3. It kind of depends on how nuclear this locker room situation is. Because if it's super toxic between him and Salah, he'll be as good as gone. Cactus says any GM that gives up any asset for Zach Wilson as $11 million salary should lose their job. I think they're going to try and make the Jets eat salary, in which case I would prefer to just hold on to Zach. Unless it's like really, really nuclear. Pharisee says, does Brees have a good day today against the 3rd worst run D? I'll be honest, I didn't realize the Texans were 3rd worst run D. I kind of chalked this one up as a loss anyway. I guess I hope so. I would like to see Brees go off. We did not do well against, what did we do? He went off against Denver. But then is it the Raiders or the Chargers that had a really bad run defense as well, and we didn't do anything? So I don't really know what to make of it. A lot of it hinges on the offensive line, and we have got a new combination of linemen out there today. We got a new right guard starting today. I believe that's the 9th combination of starting offensive linemen. I believe this is the 13th guy that's actually going to be on our offensive line. So not great. Fungus Mungus says, I believe Zach is a good dude. You just need him to step up and show us he can play. I would love to like lose these games, but not be because of Zach. Like I want to see Zach ball the hell out, and then the Jets be like, okay, yeah, we're going to hold on to him as the backup. Still bring in someone else. But I think that's probably best case scenario. Or if he just balls out, we lose, we get the high draft pick, and then you get the highest draft pick you could possibly get for Zach. Remember, Trey Lance went for a 4th round pick, but he had all the injuries, and maybe there's a little bit more optimism based on him not playing versus what we've already currently seen from Zach. Zachary Burner says, why is Lazard always messing around with a soccer ball and not messing with the jug machine? Because he can't catch. You'd like to see him on the jugs machine. It has not been good. I don't want to see him on the field. Myla King says, get rid of Dalvin Cook. I don't want to see Dalvin on the field either. I don't want to see him on the field. I don't understand how we can't get Izzy out on the field. Doesn't make any sense to me. Joseph says, I can't wait to score 9 points again. Don't overshoot us. Don't overshoot us. Joe says you can't pass on May or Daniels. I'm trading down if it's Caleb. So I really like Jaden Daniels. I have to watch more Drake May, admittedly. When I just watched like his highlights and stuff, I was kind of like, we're not going to be in, position to get this guy anyway. I'm not going to like overly look at this. But now there's like a legit shot the Jets could sneak into the top 2 or 3. So I'll have to do a little bit more research on that. Cactus says, Bo Nix, highest completion percentage in college football history. That sounds mighty enticing. Yes, it does. He did not look very good against Washington, though. So I guess maybe depending on what round you get him in. If he slips a little bit because other quarterbacks go up and he's sitting there maybe in the 3rd round, I'm okay with that. I'd be all right with that. That's right. Jets Media also streams the live game. So Richie or Green Bean, either one of those guys. If you want to watch a live stream during the game, those guys should have it going. So very excited. Rube says, yup, but your channel also made me a Jets fan years ago. So I spread the love. Thank you, Rube. That's much appreciated. I enjoy when I get other fan bases fans in here, or just, if someone actually wants to become a Jet fan willingly at this point, and I helped facilitate that, that means a lot. I mean, I'm sorry. Don't blame me when you have sadness and pain with this fan base, but I'm glad to have you around. Scott says, do you think Zach will do good today? I don't think he'll do good because Superman does good. I think Zach Wilson will do well. Maybe. We'll see, right? Should have signed Ken O'Brien. Pull him out of retirement. Tony says, bring back the scrambling Strevler package for a spark. I would love to see Zach in like some kind of Wildcat style offense where he's just running around and ripping the ball down the field. That's what I want to see. Just something different, right? Wimmy comes in and says, hey, Ryan, happy Sunday. Hope your daughters are doing great. They're doing well. They have nap time going on right now, which is why Daddy's allowed to stream. And then I'll go down and watch the game. Very much appreciated. Thank you, Wimmy. Scott says we need to work on O-line and quarterback. Gotta go O-line. Gotta go O-line. Connor's saying, go Alt, Fashanu, Neighbors, or Coleman in the 1st. Jordan Travis in the 4th. I like where Connor's going on this. Big fan. Alt and Fashanu are definitely my top 2 players. Marvin Harrison Jr., I would love to get him. I don't know if we're going to sneak into the top 3. If we do, he's probably my pick because I think he could fix offensive line in a few different ways. Now, if you're offered an enormous trade down in some capacity for any of your picks, I do lean trade down to try and get as many assets as possible, but I would love to, if the Jets can wind up getting up to number 2, get a haul for whatever quarterback that is and slide down to like 3, 4, or 5 and get one of those guys, I'd be really pumped. Coleman, I'm a big fan of. I think the guy's a physical freak. And if you could pair him with his college quarterback, Jordan Travis, in the 4th, sign me up. Sign me up. Kaz says, Green Bean's a lot of fun to watch the game with. Yeah, him and Jeremy do a great job. Zachary says, did you see the NFL fine Breece Hall for trucking over someone? I think the NFL finding a player will make them worse. Yeah, not to mention this player was going at Breece's like surgically repaired knee. I don't blame Breece at all. It's absolutely ridiculous that running backs get throttled on contract. They get throttled on career length. They get throttled on fucking penalties. Like, I'm sorry. Breece Hall is a running back. If you want him to just take a shot to the knee because you don't think he should protect himself, NFL's got to kick rocks. Absolutely ridiculous. Kevin BMW says Davante Adams' salary is already paid for next year. I don't think he gets traded. So it's only $17.5 million. It's his base salary that got guaranteed. So his cap hit that you're seeing on Over the Cap, let me pull it up real quick so I know what his actual numbers are. So next year you'll see his cap hit is $25 million for the Raiders. And when you hear his 2024 salary is already guaranteed, you kind of think that's like, oh, the Raiders aren't going to trade him for $25 million. That's not the case. They would only be eating, I guess they would be eating technically $21 million because it's his signing bonus that gets attributed to that. But his $16.8 million base salary combined with his $500,000 roster bonus that he has is about $17.5 million. So if he's traded, that $17.5 comes off the Raiders' allocation for him on their salary cap, and the new team would have 1 year, $17.5 million. He does have 2025 and 2026 under contract, but those are for $36 million and $37 million if he's traded with no guaranteed money. So realistically, if he's traded, he's probably going to rework his contract so that way he's getting more guaranteed money, but dropping his cap hit a little further. I'll be honest, I don't particularly want to trade for Davante Adams unless it's in a trade down with the Raiders during the draft. That's the most most appealing version of this trade for me, because then you still can get your offensive lineman while picking up a really good wide receiver in the process. But there's a lot of other receivers I would prefer. I'll be honest. I don't particularly want Davante Adams. Wimmy says, if we get Marvin Harrison Jr., do we look to trade for Davante Adams or offensive line? So I think the Jets should go wide receiver in free agency. If you can trade for Davante Adams without giving up, some crazy package before the draft, then that's fine. That's all right. And then if you wind up lucking into Marvin Harrison Jr., then you're loaded. But if you have Marvin Harrison Jr., and now you are trying to figure out if you want to trade for Davante Adams, that I would not really want to do. I would prefer offensive line. Tim says, I love Alt, but I agree, Ryan. If Harrison is there, then you take him and figure out the offensive line from there. That's just it. When you see a generational prospect, it's hard not to say yes to that particular type of person because, and that's regardless of position as well. I understand there's some positional flexibility, but if you can guarantee me, if Bowers is going to be a Hall of Fame tight end, then he's absolutely worthy of a top 10 pick, even though the value for tight end is usually in second round through fourth round. But I really like Alt. I'm a big Alt guy. Offensive line is where I prefer to be. I think we're going to finish around 4 or 5. I was saying pick 7 for a while just because I'm super pessimistic. But I do think the Jets will have a better shot at going offensive line than receiver early on. It depends how pro-ready they are. If they think the offensive lineman that might take 2-3 years, then maybe they don't roll with the offensive lineman early, and they do take the early contributor and a wide receiver. Gavin comes in and says, Ryan, it's depressing watching this. I'll see you later. Gavin, it's okay. I understand. You're probably not here for when I read your comment. But I'm thinking about you, dude. Kevin says, every NFL team is going to be on Marvin Harrison. Yeah, he'll be the first non-quarterback taken. Rube asking, what is that graphic with Zach and Stroud? It's comparing their career statistics, their games played, touchdowns, yards. I don't know if it has interceptions on there. But basically, Zach Wilson is only ahead of him on compiling stats over the course of 3 years and nowhere near what Stroud has done so far. Empire State showing some love to O'Leary, saying, let's go Jets. Islanders with a huge win last night. So Jets going to win 2. Yeah. I'm in a weird spot because, like, I'll be honest, unless Zach is planning to be here as the backup quarterback for next year, I have no desire to win any of these games. I really don't. I'm going to be so frustrated if Zach Wilson winds up getting cut in the offseason. He wins us a game, in garbage time at the end of the year, or even he doesn't win us the game. And it's like the defense sneaking out a win because of something stupid. That would frustrate me. There's a lot of heated debate between fans. Do you want to tank? Do you want to root for wins? I'm kind of in the middle. I'm going in with low expectations and just wanting to see an entertaining game. I just don't want to win in like a stupid fashion. Like with players that are not going to be here for next year, I want the win to mean something for our locker room. And I think a win, in spite of the offense or whatever, doesn't necessarily do that to me. Scott asking, do we have a chance at the playoffs? Technically we do. I think it's like under 1%, but I guess if things break a certain way, you could do it. Joe says, if the Jets do not take a quarterback, they will close the window on winning a Super Bowl till 2028. I disagree with that. I think you could definitely win earlier than that. The only thing is, quarterback next year, from what I've heard, is not super appealing in the draft. My Holy King says, didn't the Raiders say they're not giving up Devontae Adams? They did this year, and then their GM got fired after the trade deadline passed. Or not their GM, their head coach got fired. And GM? Was it both of them? It might have been both of them. I would be surprised if Devontae Adams is not traded in the offseason. Minion says, Zach becoming a Patriot will haunt us forever. And as for the draft, we must stack offensive line because O-line no matter what. So I am always afraid of whatever team picks up former Jet players. But by and large, most of the players we've given up have not really turned into anything. Blake Cashman is really the only one that I can think of right now that's like, wow, we let him go and he's playing at a very high level. He's just always injury prone with us. So I don't know. Kaz says, Ryan, how much do you think D'Amico Ryan's knowledge of Salah's defense will come into play? I'm really interested to hear your take on this. I would say about as helpful as Robert Salah's knowledge on D'Amico Ryan's defense because they're running the same type of thing. So, I mean, it'll help CJ Stroud out from that perspective. And I don't know, hopefully it helps out Zach on our side of things. I just want to see some moving of the ball. Empire State says, Zach will be good. I hope we work a deal, keep him, develop, and he will go to another team and torch us for years. I hope if we trade him, it's to an NFC team, so we just don't have to see him. But I would like to exhaust every opportunity to even have him as a backup. Like, if he could be a career backup for us, that's probably not something that would go on. But whatever. AJ Spaz says, there is a report that the Jets told Zach he would be traded the offseason. I know. I made a video this morning about it. I got a bunch of people saying it was clickbait. And I think it definitely is because the report you're referring to is, and I'm going to pronounce this word wrong, this paper wrong again, because I don't know how to pronounce this word, but it's some Utah-based paper. And the guy that sources that wrote the article has 124 followers on Twitter. So I don't know how much I'm buying what he's selling right now. The Freedom House says, if we get a quarterback, Hackett will just ruin him. Wait until Hackett is gone before you go quarterback. I would like us to add some type of offensive coach to the locker room, whether that's an assistant head coach in the form of like a Frank Reich or maybe Josh McCown comes back around in some capacity. Josh McCown, when he was our quarterback and we had John Morton as our offensive coordinator, that was my favorite iteration of the offense. So if he's going to run something similar to that, I would sign up for that. I want to see some type of offensive prowess brought in because I don't want to trust Hackett with just the quarterback. I would like a quarterback's coach to really have his hands all over a new quarterback as opposed to Hackett necessarily having his hands all over him. Zachary Berner says, stat of the day, backup safety Ashton Davis is the only player in the NFL since 2010 to have 2 interceptions, 2 fumble recoveries, and a safety in the same season. Craziest part, he's only played 118 snaps on defense. Yeah, I saw this stat today, and I think, oh, you know what? I was going to put it on my little scrolly thing that's going over on the side, but it was too small of like a caption within the picture of him. There was like 3 pictures of Ashton Davis, but it was something along the lines of he's number 1 in the NFL on turnovers per snap, like by a country mile. So that feeds off of what Zachary's saying right here. IGCFSR says, who's our starting offensive line? I saw Samini post it before, and I don't remember who the right guard is offhand. Let me pull it up real quick. So Carter Warren is inactive. Let's see. I thought they had the offensive line in here. Maybe not. I could be wrong. Okay, so he says if Jacob Hansen starts at right guard, he'll be the 13th different starter on the offensive line, and it'll be the Jets' 10th different offensive line combination, and Roger Saffold still remains on the practice squad. That is a really odd sign to me. The whole Roger Saffold thing is like, doesn't make any damn sense. I would have thought for sure we would have seen him in at guard. Daniel Crawford says, Ryan's betting odds for winning out the season. 0. Plus, or we'll call it plus 10,000. Plus 10,000 to win out. What's up, Craig? He says, good to see you this morning. Moving the ball would be a great start, but I'm still pulling for the tank. Yeah, I tend to lean more on the, I would like to lose, get a higher draft pick, have a little more excitement for that time of year as opposed to like having the, yes, we did it. I don't want to see it. I want to see good football, not like a bad football and a win. NY Jets fan 4, what's up? Says, if Marvin Harrison Jr. falls to us, as much as I want him, I'd love to see a trade back. A wide receiver hungry team would trade a boatload to get him. Jets get future first plus a second rounder this year, get offensive line and quarterback. I think a trade down is definitely going to be in the conversation. I would love to lose out and get a top 2 pick so that way you can trade down, stay within the top 5, get one of your top offensive linemen. Marvin Harrison Jr. to me is interesting if we want to make the selection. I think if you want to look to trade down, you'd have to still wow me with a trade down for this. And it depends how far I'd have to go down. I think a lot of teams are going to want him, though. So I think you're right. I think there is going to be some type of trade available if he's sitting there for us. Scott says, do you think we should have gotten rid of Boyle? Yes. I don't think he should have been on the active roster at all. I was saying that during training camp. This guy's a camp body. He's here for the practice squad, and that's it. He should not be on the active roster. Heck, my whole thing about the backup quarterback was like, if you're not going to bring one in, and you don't want to have one to back up Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers plays every game, then it's like, okay, yeah, Zach can be back up. That's fine. And then I wouldn't carry a third quarterback because I think Tim Boyle is not someone that's going to get plucked off the street. And obviously it doesn't seem to be happening. I'm not a Boyle fan. The Freedom House says we should never had Boyle like Lazard. So I'll be honest. I consider Lazard the price of getting Aaron Rodgers. So as much as it sucks without Rodgers on the field, I'm not gonna be too beat up over it. Empire State Construction says they would get Zach just to spite us. I hate the Pats and their piece of shit coach. Back in the day, Leon Hess gave Belichick $1 million on the side to coach us. Then he quits after the day. Give the money back. I didn't know he gave him money. That's news to me. Fungus Among Us says, I mean, in my opinion, I don't see with Boyle's stats in college how he made it in the NFL. He was like one of the worst college quarterbacks. And I don't know how he got drafted. Doesn't make any damn sense to me. London says, got my sauce jersey for one hello, Jets family. I want to see Izzy, number 25. Come on, Landon. That's what I want to see as well. London. Sorry. Words are hard today. J-Boy comes in, says, you want to see good football? Watch damn near any other game today. Game will be 37-6. Jets lose. I just don't want to like get embarrassed. I don't want to feel like I'm wasting my time each and every week. Give me something to watch. Kevin BMW says, Ryan, who are the inactives for the game? The Jets inactives today. Wide receiver Jason Brownlee, right tackle Carter Warren, offensive tackle Austin DeCulis, linebacker Zaire Barnes, D-end Carl Lawson, cornerback Bryce Hall, and quarterback Brett Rippon, who will be the emergency quarterback if both Zach Wilson and Trevor Siemian go down with injury. Then they can bring him in. Mike D's Life says, Ryan Rodgers with Wilson, Brees, and Marvin Harrison Jr. would be scary, especially considering you'd probably be signing a wide receiver in free agency as well, so that's not the only weapons that you would have. I completely agree. I would love for that to happen. I think you're going to have the 3 pick in order to get Marvin Harrison Jr., because I think the quarterbacks are going 1, 2, and if a quarterback does fall to 3, and let's say Marvin Harrison went at 2, I would trade out and get the haul for the picks. Jimmy says, Aaron looks ready for next year. Heard the Jets don't want Becton back next year. Who replaces him? I think, so I got to make a video on this and I didn't do it, but Austin Jackson just received a 3-year contract worth $36 million from the Miami Dolphins. His career path has been eerily similar to Mekhi Becton's. If you could sign Becton to either a 1-year, let's call it, $12, $13, $14 million deal as like a prove-it deal, I would be on board with that. I think I could live with that. Obviously, a 3-year, maybe lower term deal would be ideal. I don't think Becton is coming back, like you said, and I think David Bakhtiari is going to be the replacement for Becton. And then I do think the Jets are still going to add a tackle. I think they're going to want to bring in. The nice thing about if they bring in Bakhtiari, I would think there's probably a pretty good shot they're going to replace the field, because he is very outspoken about playing on grass. And I think Rodgers and Garrett Wilson and all these other guys are going to start, chirping a little bit more. But I would like to see offensive tackle in the draft in conjunction with, our guys. You have AB2 that can flex out to tackle. You have Carter Warren, who's playing pretty nicely. And then I would bring in someone like a Bakhtiari, who Rodgers feels comfortable with. Bakhtiari to me and like Becton are kind of 2 halves of the same coin. So whichever one you prefer, but I wouldn't rely on him to be the starter for the entire season. The Juice Main says, didn't Purdy get drafted dead last? We need to draft offensive line. He did get drafted dead last, but he also went to arguably the best quarterback head coach in the NFL in Shanahan. So I think there's probably a little bit to be said for like the weapons he has around him. I mean, Deebo Samuel, Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, Kittle, like that team is loaded across the board. So I don't know. I mean, you could certainly get guys in later rounds. I think you could get a quarterback for the Jets and have him sit behind Rodgers, in the 3rd or 4th round. That would be my preference. Empire State Construction says, he did give him money, Ryan. Believe me, I'm 52. I was so excited Belichick and Parcells together. Then Parcells would retire soon, but Belichick wanted full power immediately or some BS. I think it was the offense or the change in ownership going from Leon Hess to the Johnsons and some of the uncertainty that was going on there. My Holy King says, when you play football, you play in all types of weather, rain, snow, sleet, heat, which makes it fun. It does, but I still would rather have a dome on our damn stadium. I really do. J-Boy says, we all know we are about to watch a damn good defense and no offense. Be ready, boys. This one's going to hurt. Ugh. Going to make myself a pizza and have a brownie or something. Try to mellow myself out. Troy Flett says, need 3 new starting linemen. Do we? I don't think we do. I think Laken Tomlinson for next year is fine. I would draft a replacement for him. Zach Zinter in like the 4th round with his broken ankle, leg, whatever he's got broken right now. I would like to see him sit for a little bit, finish out Lakin's contract for next year. And then you've got Tippmann at center. You've got AVT at either right guard or right tackle, or maybe you want to move him to left tackle, whatever it is. You still got him. So I would argue we have 3 for next year, but we do need someone in the hopper on the interior part of the offensive line, especially if you want to move AVT to tackle at some point, and then someone to replace Lakin Tomlinson after next year. And then obviously you need the tackles for sure. Nico says, if the Jets don't go all in on offensive line in the offseason and the draft, Rodgers is done for. So I think it's just got to be all offseason offense. Doesn't always have to be offensive line. A lot of what we're seeing right now is due to injury, but I think a top tackle in the draft like Joe Alt or Olu Fashanu would just be so important for this team. I'm sick of the injury label on some of our guys. My Holy King says you can go all in on offensive line, but you can't control injuries. 100% true. 100% true. Not what you heard. Got a Texans fan coming in. What's up, dude? He says, Texans fan here. I just wanted to say that I completely feel for the Jets fans. Houston was in disarray for years, disappointing fans season after season. However, things can change fast. Stay hopeful. Dude, you guys are exactly what we wanted to be. That's what's so frustrating. You guys took a number 2 overall quarterback, and, you missed out on the quarterback that you wanted. You guys obviously wanted Bryce Young. The Jets obviously wanted Trevor Lawrence. We screwed it up. You guys lucked into a really good quarterback in C.J. Stroud, and it immediately changed your entire outlook for your franchise. I want that for our Jets. Now, does that mean I'm taking a quarterback in the top 5 if we wind up sitting there? I'm not at that point just because we got Aaron Rodgers on the roster. But, dude, the NFL switches around so fast. Like, look how fast the Lions turned it around. Look how fast the Browns turned it around. Look how fast the Bears are kind of turning around. I mean, I guess they got a top 5 pick, but they're going to get a top quarterback this year, and then they're still going to, draft someone else that's good. Super frustrating. But I appreciate you coming in here. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys are not subscribed, I'm almost at 30,000 subscribers. Very close. It would mean a lot to me if you enjoy any of the content that I produce here. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Goes a long way, helps other people decide if they actually want to hit subscribe too. I think about like 50% of the people that watch my channel don't actually subscribe. I'm guilty of that. I didn't subscribe to Jake Asman till like 25,000 subs. And I've been friends with him for like 2 years. I was like, dude, I'm so sorry. I watch your videos and like, oops, didn't hit subscribe. He laughed about that one. Rube says, we have 0 run games, so if it comes down to a runoff, game could be closer than most expect. Yeah, if it's Breece Hall versus is it Singletary? Is your running back over there? Not great. Flight right, talking about Zinter, right? Michigan guard, broken leg. I'd still sign him in the 4th round. Nico says Dwayne Brown needs to retire. Hey, him as a swing tackle this year, I'm okay with. I don't want to see him starting, but yes, I agree. Connor Long says, go Travis and Zinter for our 2/4. This Connor knows exactly what's going on. If you guys haven't heard Connor on the the call-ins, Connor's really good at this. He knows football. I enjoy his call-ins every time. You wouldn't expect it. He's wise beyond his years, Connor is. Super Alvin Star says, what would you do if the Jets get the 2nd pick in the draft? I would trade out for a haul. I'm not taking the quarterback. I want the draft picks. Give me everything. And then if I can stay within the top 5, I still get someone I really like. If you want to move down, get the haul of picks. And then, who knows, maybe Jaden Daniels is sitting there and the Raiders want to come up too. They trade down again, give them Jaden Daniels, give someone else Drake May. Whew. I'm all about the trade down. I want all offensive linemen or wide receivers, like just load it up. Keon Coleman in the 1st round, if you want to trade down, he's a really good receiver. You could look at Neighbors. Neighbors is he's not the big body target that I want, but he's really good. You could look at Bowers. I'm not super sold on him just yet, but I understand why people are hyped on him. I think as I start to watch a little bit more of him, I'll fall into that mindset as well. We got Mr. RJ McPot dropping in with $10 super chat. Thank you, RJ. Much appreciated. He said, Douglas is fired if we don't win a playoff game. He might as well go ham. Hope you get top 3, get Marvin Harrison Jr., use our next 2 first-round picks to get an offensive lineman and a quarterback in the mid-first round and early second round. So I would not sign off on using those first-round picks in future years for Douglas this year. I would be very frustrated. I do think he is going to try and win as many playoff games as possible. The nice thing about Douglas, though, is I think Douglas could set himself apart if he lands a monster trade and puts together a really good team. Like if you can solve offensive line and wide receiver for the most part heading into the draft, and then all of a sudden you add all these extra picks because you've traded down and now you have extra assets for future years. I could see a path for Douglas not getting fired if things don't go well. Like I could see Saleh being the sacrificial lamb at some point in time. Let's see here. I see Connor calling in. Let's do this. I want to take Connor's call because I do want to hear what he's got to say today. So let me pull this up real quick. All right. So we're going to take Connor's call, and then I'm going to hop off because we're like a half hour before the game. But let's go over. Connor, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. How are you? I remember before I came on last week, you asked me how old was I, and I forgot to answer the question. I'm actually 12. I'm turning 13 in July.
Wow. It's impressive how much you know about football at that age. Like 12
Yeah.
years old. Is that 7th grade? 8th
Yeah,
grade?
7th grade.
7th
7th
grade.
grade.
Okay. I did not have the wealth of knowledge you have currently at that point in time. I watch football all the time, and I like to pretend I knew what I was talking about, but like I was all Madden at that point, not
I
real
love
life football in any meaningful capacity. So what do you
yeah.
think is going to happen today, dude?
So I like what Salah said, air it out, but like, what does air it out mean? Like,
Right? Like, why didn't they do that before? Is it going to wind up being like the Chiefs game, or is it just like, it's just something you say during a press conference when you got nothing else better to say?
I hope he airs it out. I hope he plays like he did against the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, just after this game, honestly, shut Brees and Garrett down, put Izzy in,
I don't know
and
how you do it though. Like that's the most frustrating part. Is like I don't want to see Brees or Garrett get hurt, but neither one of those guys is going to willingly opt out of like playing. Like you'd
yeah,
have to have some type of like, oh, we're not going to clear you for like injury purposes or something like that, or like, oh, like my back is sort of sore, and then like
yeah.
that sort of thing. I don't know.
Well, like,
I'm super frustrated with where this team's at right now, and I just want to like look forward to the future at this point.
I know going where we were from this offseason, and we're in week 14 right now, and we're already talking about the draft. It's just mind blowing to me after bringing in Rodgers, all those guys in free agency. It's just crazy.
Dude, if you told me because really I put my first mock off season out just
Yeah,
before Thanksgiving. So if you had told me, hey Ryan, you're going to make a full mock off season because the Jets are so bad this year, after all the hype that I saw this past offseason, dude, I was so pumped. I don't know how I can feel as pumped going into next year as I was this year because I'm just like, I'm shelling myself off. I'm afraid of like what could happen, in the offseason or at the beginning part of next season.
that's why I don't want to see Rodgers, because if he plays poorly, we're like, wow, we are going to have to rebuild for another 5 years and keep jetting.
So therein lies the question, right? Do you play Rodgers for a drive or two, almost like a preseason game, where you can kind of have proof of concept that this offense works with Rodgers, with our weapons, and then just kind of bench him and say like, okay, you did your thing, you did your comeback in historic fashion, and it works. Or other side of the coin, it doesn't work, and now you still have the top 5 pick, and you're like, okay, maybe now you look a little more seriously at a quarterback at the top of the draft. Where do you fall on like the quarterback side of things? Any shot you would take one early?
Well, like the film I've seen, I like Penix.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen
Did you
enough of.
see his jacket from the Heisman ceremony?
Yeah, that was
He had it opened up. He had all.
was
So
sick.
if you guys didn't watch the Heisman ceremony, he had his jacket. He opened it up and he had all his teammates' names stitched into the
Yeah, that
inside
was
part of
sick.
the jacket. That's franchise quarterback material. His injuries scare me. That's the biggest thing for me
Yeah,
on him.
I haven't seen enough of Drake May.
Mhm.
I don't want to go Bowers because
Mm.
like we can't even find a way to get all of our tight ends involved. I've seen so much film
Mm.
on him. I'm like, they use him in like the like screen game and long ball
Running
though.
back, wide receiver, tight end. Like they use him all over the field. He's an impressive prospect.
He reminds me of Travis Kelsey the way they kind of use him.
Mm.
But like, and then watching Malik Neighbors, I really like him. But I
Mm.
feel like the way they use him in like the rush game and stuff, I feel like that's what Xavier Gibson can be.
Mm. Yeah, I'm not super in on Neighbors just because of his size profile. Like I want a bigger body red zone target, which is why Bowers is probably a little more appealing to me than Neighbors. But I like Keon Coleman out of
Oh my
FSU.
God,
Obviously Marvin Harrison Jr., O'Dunes from
Washington.
Washington. There's a few guys out there that I would be more than happy with taking. And if someone's willing to give you a haul to come up and get a quarterback, if the Jets are sitting at 2, I'm all about it. I want the pick.
I really like Keon Coleman, but
Mm.
I think we go him or O line if Fashani and Alt are available. O
Mm.
line is like our main need. Or what I was thinking is we can go wide receiver in the first round. And there's like 4 guys I like in free agency: Robert Hunt, Graham Glasgow,
Mm.
Trent Brown, and
Mm.
I like Bakhtiari too.
So I think Bakhtiari is like definitely going to be an option for us. I think Rodgers and him are buddies. They're going to want to play together. I think the Jets will view Bakhtiari similarly to like a Becton signing, where it's like, okay, we're not going to plan on him being here for all 17 plus games, but I think there's upside to him being like a top 5 tackle when he is on the field. So I think that's an easy way to upgrade, barring injury. There's a guard from Miami that's supposed to be really good. I think it's Connor Williams is the name. He's a
Yeah,
free agent. That's
yeah.
someone I'd keep an eye on as well.
I like like the guys I said, Glasgow, Hunt,
Mm.
those guys I'm big on. But the draft, I think we go wide receiver. But
You
it
need an
comes to
immediate
question.
impact, right? And wide receiver could
Yeah.
provide that.
It comes to question though. Like we have these 2 4th round picks. We have
Mm.
a first, a third, 2 4ths, and a six.
Mm.
4th round, I want Zinter and Travis. I know Travis had a bad injury, but like the
Mm.
film I've seen on him, he's sick. He's a great
He's
player.
exciting. And that's just it. You let him sit for a year or two behind Rodgers. Like, worst case scenario, you invest another pick in a quarterback down the line. Best case scenario, this guy winds up being the dude. Like,
Yeah, like
on board.
speaking of quarterbacks, I can see in this draft like Bo Nix
Mm.
kind of being the Will Levis of last year's draft,
Uh huh.
where he's like just sitting on the
Slips.
board and
Yep.
falls all the way to the second round. And he's like 25.
Mm.
I'm not big on him.
I think this is I gotta look. I believe this is the final year of like the
His NCAA,
COVID players
yeah,
where they had
agreed.
that extra year of eligibility. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. I'm not as high on Bo Nix as I was a few weeks ago, but obviously if he falls to like, let's say he's in the 3rd round and you want to take a crack at him, I could get on board. Connor, let's answer a few super chats while I got you up here. We got Mike Dees comes in. He says we should have traded down and kept Sam. We would have been light years better with our weapons and this defense. Sam had 20 touchdowns to Zach's 6. It's crazy. So I I don't know if I would have kept Sam because you
I
got the
wouldn't.
second round pick for him and you would have had to decide on his 5th year option anyway. And the next year of quarterbacks, Kenny Pickett was the top quarterback. So are you paying Sam Darnold $25 million? Are you drafting Zach number 2? Or are you, you know, taking Kenny Pickett the following year? I think that the option would have been to trade down, still trade Sam, and just kind of run it back with like a middling vet quarterback at that point. What would you
I
have
think
done, Connor?
well, at the time I would have got rid of Darnold, but like looking back now, we're like, wow, we really should have kept Sam.
I loved Sam. Like his
Yeah.
personality was everything I wanted out of a New York quarterback. He was stoic. It was more of like the Eli Manning style of, kind of Derek Jeter, very calm, collected, calculated. I miss Sam. I would have loved to. I'll forever be a Sam fan. I don't know if I'll forever be a Zach fan
Yeah,
the
he was
same way.
the Sam coming out of college, the opposite of Baker Mayfield. Not
Oh yeah.
cocky, very humble,
Yep.
and I think he has potential still. I want to see him start somewhere next season.
I would love to see that. Imagine a situation where like he ends up back in New York. Just like, come on, Sam, we want you back.
Speaking
Never
of
gonna
quarterbacks,
happen.
Speaking of quarterbacks coming back, I don't mind adding Josh McCown to our staff after
I
he's got.
love the idea of adding Josh McCown to our staff. I'm like, I don't know how he is as an offensive coach, but I really liked him as a mentor. He's been around the league forever. And I feel like if he can instill any type of, John Morton-esque offense, I would love to have that here. That's the last offense we had that was like halfway decent. Cuddy
Yeah.
comes in, says, Schefter said this officiating unit today is being watched for missed calls. Expect another penalty-heavy game. Let's go Jets. So yeah, did you hear about this, Connor? This is the referee team that was on Monday Night Football this past week that blew the call against the Chiefs
Oh,
and the
yes.
Packers are calling this
Pass
game.
interference. Yeah, pass
Yep, the
interference.
pass interference. It wasn't even
Oh,
just the pass interference. There was a bunch of like weird calls where they threw a flag on was it the Packers for the hit on Patrick Mahomes near the sideline, but it shouldn't have been roughing the passer because he was running and like unnecessary roughness or whatever. And then this was also the same staff, the same officiating crew that blew the play in New Orleans against the Rams on that egregious pass interference that
oh
was
my.
like no call. Like this
Oh
officiating crew
yeah.
has been historically bad.
Well, like last week, the officiating was terrible too. They were very inconsistent. So my thing with
Mm,
officiating is if you're going to be very tit for tat,
mm.
to call everything that's tit for tat. Last week,
Yep.
that the Jets and Falcons had so many bad penalties called on them. I've just had this officiating this year has been historically bad in every
This is
game.
it's a lot of bad calls too. I don't know if it's an excessive amount of penalties or it's just an excessive amount of bad penalties. That's what it feels like where the errors are coming in. I can't stand it. It's really ruining games.
Yes, I
Julian
agree.
comes in. Julian says, do you really think the Vikings will go for Zach Wilson? They have Jaron Hall from BYU unless Dobbs leaves the Vikings. I don't think the Vikings are really gonna be in play for Zach Wilson. I think they're, as good of a shot as just about like any team, like anyone that's got a veteran quarterback that's either leaving via free agency or is aging should be, I would think, semi interested in Zach. It depends on the cost. Like no one wants to pay a crazy ton of money for a quarterback that has flamed out in historic fashion, who reportedly did not want to play for his current team and start the remaining part of the season. I don't know if you saw my video, Connor. There was a report that Zach has agreed with the Jets that he'll be traded in the offseason, and the
Yeah, I
teams that were
saw.
listed in there, it was the Vikings, the Rams, and the Broncos. And to me, this feels like a report that's not actually factual at all because I don't see Mike LaFleur wanting Zach Wilson after having him this past last two seasons, and because he's the quarterback coach for the Rams. I don't see the Jets trading him to the Broncos because God forbid Zach Wilson looks good on the Broncos, then Hackett looks even worse for the New York Jets. And then the other team was the Vikings, and the Vikings are kind of like, cool, I guess. I would trade him there, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where he goes. Where do you think the best landing spot for him would be?
Honestly, I don't. Whatever team gives us the highest draft pick. I saw a tweet earlier today that it was reported that Rich said that we can get a fourth for him, which I don't see. I think at best we can get a fifth for him.
I was gonna say, I think I know which tweet you're talking about. I think it might have been they might have said a fifth. I feel like it was fifth.
Yeah,
Let me.
it's a fourth or a fifth.
I'll find it. I'll find it. I'll
And
find it.
then
I'll find it. I think I had it scrolling at one point too. I'll get it. 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 Second round pick over under. I don't know where it is. But yeah, whatever it was, they said they think the Jets can get a pick based on stuff going on around the league. Do you think we'll have to eat some of the salary in order to facilitate like a fifth round pick?
I think we will.
Man, that sucks. To me, like if you're not gonna get some sort of substantial cap savings or some type of like reasonably decent pick, I don't understand why you wouldn't just like say high upside third string quarterback for Zach. I mean, unless the relationship is so badly severed between the coaching staff and him, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And also, when it comes to the report saying that him and Salah are mutually parting ways, I saw so many tweets about it. I saw so many Instagram posts about it. But, like, the reporting in general this season has just been, like,
Mhm.
so bad. I don't even know what to
Mhm.
believe, especially with, like, the reluctant to play, too. I have no idea what to believe.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of it's hearsay. I do get the feeling that Zach probably said to someone like, "Why should I even go out there and play?" if they're just going to get rid of me in the offseason and risk injury. Like, I think that's probably what was said, and then it ran with like other people, and there's these clickbait headlines, and then you get all these different articles that pop up. But I agree, it's hard to sift through all the BS that comes around.
I think him playing can possibly help his trade stock because where he is right now, he is so low. It can only go up from here.
Right? Like, imagine he balls out at the tail end of the year. Like, the Jets might get something halfway decent. If you get like a 4th round pick for Zach Wilson at this point, I'd be pretty pumped, because if you could turn that into, Jordan Travis and Zach Zinter and someone like in that same ballpark that is under contract for the next 4 years, that's worth it to me. I like that.
I agree. And then also when it comes to like head coaching, I've made my point clear. I don't want Saleh gone, but if we were to fire someone, I want everyone gone. And my thoughts are like, who's gonna want to come and coach the Jets right now? And also with like the free agency, free agents are seeing this right now, and I don't think one free agent is like the Jets, other than maybe Bakhtiari. The Jets, I want to go to this team. This team is gonna be contenders next year.
So I completely agree. I don't think you're going to get a head coach worth their salt if you fire Saleh right now. Or even an offensive coordinator. You get rid of Hackett, you piss off Rodgers, and then is an offensive coordinator really coming in? You'd have to get someone that like couldn't hack it as a head coach, and that would want their next opportunity. So I completely agree with you, Connor. Connor, any last words before I eject you?
I don't like the luggage that Rodgers brought with him, whether it was Randall Cobb, Tim Boyle, Billy Turner, Alan Lazard. They're all terrible.
I completely agree with you. We'll throw Dalvin Cook in there as well. Connor, you going to be watching the 3 and Out new show? Did you see that?
Of course. No? On round
there we
2.
go.
Of course.
I'm excited. Connor, you've been ejected from the cockpit.
You're out of here.
Boys and girls, if you have not heard, I will be hosting a new show over on Roundtable Sports. That's the channel with the AFC East guys and Richie and all of them. Game style show. If you guys want to check it out, mean a lot to me. Go a long way. It's pinned in the live chat. Click on the link. Click subscribe there. Hit the little notification bell if you want to watch it. I'm going to drop a trailer right now so you guys can watch that, see what it's all about, and then I'll catch you guys for the post game after the game today. Welcome to 3 and Out, the interactive NFL game show where viewers like you get to decide which of your favorite content creators get benched and which ones move on in the ultimate competition.
One, two, three.